Oh, y'all, I've been all over the place. I've been trying to bring y'all some content, but it just every time I dig deep, just more stuff keep coming up. Like uh, look, Coach Fran Brown might have a bigger impact than Coach Prime. What? Well, hold on, y'all. Coach Prime got a whole term, the Prime effect. And I'm not no shade to what Coach Prime is doing. Coach Prime is doing something great out there in Colorado. But I'm looking at what Coach Brown is doing right now. I'm looking at the situation. So look, let's compare apples to oranges right now, all right? Because the orange me. Y'all see how I did that? Look, okay, pay attention. Because you might miss it if you don't pay attention. All right, I said Coach Prime was doing something very smart when he took on the Jackson job. Jackson got a big stadium. Like Jackson Stadium holds more than Colorado Stadium. Jackson Stadium holds more than TCU Stadium. Like I think they hold like 60,000. Don't quote me on that. That's what I heard. So when he went to the SWAC, I was like, man, he's at Jackson. His stadium is super big. He gonna get so many sellouts. He had a thing going where he supposed to get so many of the tickets, like the ticket sales from the door. And he was like in the middle of the SWAC, right? So he had to play against all these other teams around him: Alabama State, Alabama A&M, Alcorn, Mississippi Valley, like all these schools that kind of like bordering his where he was. And I was like, dang, that was genius. Then when he started talking about going to Colorado, I was like, what? Colorado? Then I started looking at they was at the bottom of the conference. They had a $150 million plus facility, like the mountains and stuff. Everything was just clean out there. I was like, okay, if you can convince them to come out here and they can see how nice it is, and just like, especially a lot of these kids is growing up in these little small rural towns or in these cities and it's crime infested. When you go out there, it's kind of like a different, like you on vacation forever, like you just on a permanent vacation, right? I mean, every place have their bad stuff, but most kids from the inner city never experience Colorado, the mountains, the snow, the clean water, skiing. Like you seen Shiloh skiing. Shiloh has a Hall of Fame dad. I don't think he ever skied before. Don't quote me on that, but I don't think he ever skied before. I never seen him skiing. And like Coach Prime say, this is his first time he ever seen snow. So going to Colorado when they had a record, they had the previous team had only won one game. Only thing he had to do was double that. Only thing he had to do is win 2, and that was an improvement. He ended up winning 4 games, and job security is there. He's recruiting his butt off. He came in with his son Sador, a quarterback. A quarterback. You know they talk about the NFL. It's a quarterback-driven league. College football is the same thing. I mean, you can get away with having a good running back and big D lineman and all that kind of stuff and winning the game with defense. But when you have a quarterback that can really spin the ball, you win. Prime example, when Coach Prime was in the SWAC, he won every year. Like he won the SWAC because he had the best quarterback. This year he exited. Shadur's gone. FAMU wins the SWAC this year. They got the best quarterback in the SWAC. So what does Coach Brown do at Syracuse? He brings in a 5-star quarterback that grew up in Philadelphia, right there, right in their backyard, right? So now you bring in a 5-star. Now I want to watch his tape, high school, dropping dimes. He kind of reminds me of a Joe Burrow, and I can kind of see why he went to Ohio. He kind of that's that kind of guy. They want a quarterback that can really like throw it. And I'm talking about when he's throwing wide receivers open, wide receivers, any wide receivers out there that's trying to figure out where you want to go. If you know you're a dog and you don't want to go to Colorado because Colorado already got 17 wide receivers that's nice, you might want to look at the Orange Men. I think they already got 2 wide receivers from Georgia. I looked at the wide receivers they had on their squad last year. It wasn't that impressive. Like the guys, I mean, I think it was part of the reason was their quarterback was more of a mobile running quarterback. Now you actually got a guy that can throw the ball. I don't know if these wide receivers are very good. That's already on the roster. and it's hard to tell when you have a running quarterback. But now they have a guy that can throw you open. A lot of people don't understand what that term means. He throws the ball before the wide receiver even turns his head around. He throws the ball away from the DB. He's throwing his wide receiver open. He's guiding his wide receiver away from the DB to the open area. I seen him doing it in high school, so I know he's upgraded since then. And I didn't know him and Marvin Harrison Jr. played on the same team in high school. So now he went and played with Marvin. Marvin's going to go to the league. I don't understand why this guy isn't getting a shot to go to the league right now. I don't understand it. Maybe he didn't play as many games as Marvin. I don't know. I'm not a big Ohio fan. What I do know is he's going to Syracuse with Coach Brown. And I'm looking at this. I'm like, okay, Coach Prime came in with a 4-star quarterback. Coach Brown is coming in with a 5-star quarterback with game experience. Coach Prime came in. Shedeur was his first year he had, like, you can't really count that year, that COVID year. But Shedeur first year he was a freshman. This guy won 11 games this year. Like, he won 11. He lost one game. He lost one game. He's a 5-star. And now he's going to a conference where you can make an argument where their talent is not as strong. So Shedeur came in as a freshman and went to a conference with stronger talent. He's coming. I can't even think of a man's name. I'm sorry for not knowing your name. I'm just not an Ohio fan like that. It's Kyle McCord or something like that. I think it's McCord. I think that's what it is. But my man has a nice arm, nice touch, good power. He comes from a program where you get taught how to play quarterback at a high level. They don't put maybe like 4 or 5 quarterbacks in the league in the last 12 years. He's played with a big-time wide receiver, so wide receivers know if I go play with this guy, he's going to get me the rock. They got the #1 wide receiver coming out of their school right now, so he can deliver the ball and get you the stats you need if you're trying to go to the NFL. So this is a good selling point for Coach Brown. And he got like multiple guys coming back to Syracuse right now. I'm gonna talk about the Diggs brothers. They coming, man. It's about to get crazy in Syracuse. But the reason why I say Coach Brown might have a bigger impact because Colorado doesn't really have an identity for football. Back in the day they won games, yeah, true enough. But like, what is Colorado? What statement does Colorado make? When Coach Prime is recruiting, he's recruiting out of the SEC. He's recruiting out of Texas, Georgia, Florida, trying to get guys from like Alabama. Coach Brown at Syracuse, he's trying to lock up the North. He's finna show the world that the kids in the North can play football, and it's gonna be a hard task. Believe me. I went and looked at the roster, the recruits that's coming out for next year. I think they got 2 dudes in the top 77. Maybe 2 dudes in the top 100. Like 2 guys, and I'm talking about New York, New Jersey, Delaware. I'm putting all them states in there. Boston, all that. Vermont. 2 guys. You got 30 guys coming out of Georgia and 30 guys coming out of Florida and 30 guys coming out of Texas. So the chips are stacked against them when you're talking about straight talent. But if he's able to bring back talent, if he's able to evaluate the talent up there that we might overlook and bring in the best guys and make them buy into we're the kings of the North, and their schedule is so relaxed next year. The 2 games they got to worry about is Georgia Tech and Miami. Neither one of those teams was in the top. Well, let's throw NC State in there too. All three of those teams didn't crack, or if they cracked it, they didn't hold a position in the top 25. Right now, none of those three teams are in the top 25. So it's not like they got to play against some juggernauts next year. They playing against teams just trying to figure out. None of these teams are going to have a quarterback better than their quarterback. And the reason why I'm saying all this, y'all, to understand, it's a quarterback-driven league in the NFL. The same thing in college. If you got a good quarterback, that heightens your chance to win games. So if we're looking at these games and we're saying Syracuse has a weak schedule and they have the best quarterback and they bringing in a bunch of good guys, some guys are coming back home that played for Texas A&M and other schools, Georgia guys. They got like 4 or 5 SEC guys coming up there. And just keep in mind, Syracuse made a bowl game this year. So it wasn't like their team is just awful like how Colorado was. So Syracuse has a chance. Coach Brown has a chance to come in and make a quicker turnaround than Coach Prime. That's just what I'm saying, y'all. I'm like, it's no shots. Coach Prime had his task was way harder. Like the Pac-12, how many teams was in that conference that was ranked? It was crazy. I didn't think it was going to be that hard until the schedule started, and it seemed like Coach Prime made that whole conference elevate. But the ACC, Florida State is talking about leaving. Clemson is talking about leaving. The Orange Men might be sitting on top. It might come down to Syracuse and Miami every year, battling it out for who's going to the college playoffs. So next year, Syracuse has a better chance of making it to the college playoff than Colorado. That's what I'm saying, y'all. No shots fired. I'm just saying Syracuse has an easier road than Colorado. Syracuse, I can't say Shedeur is just flat out better than his quarterback for Ohio. My man Kyle. I can't say he's just better than Kyle. Like I'll prefer to watch Shedeur because I like Shedeur, his antics. I like his accuracy. I like just his swag. I like that. I love the brand. But looking at the tapes, my man Kyle he's no joke, man. I think this right here, and this may sound crazy. This may sound crazy. He might get more eyes now because now he's the man on the team. He's the man. Last year, or this current year where we in right now, Marvin Harrison Jr. was the man on the team. He was the facilitator. Now he is the guy on the team back in his area, back in his stomping ground. And if they end up making they should win their first 5 games. Their first 5 games is atrocious. Like it's like Miami, Ohio, Holy Cross, Connecticut. Man, it's a bunch of teams that I think Miami, Ohio is their toughest team in the first 5 games. So they might come out of here 5-0. 5-0. And put the world on notice, y'all. So that's all I'm saying. Coach Brown might end up having a better record than Coach Prime next year. Y'all, in the comments, what do y'all think? Do y'all think Colorado is gonna have a better record? Put Colorado, CU, in the comment section if you think Colorado is gonna have the best record. Put Syracuse, Orange Men in the comment section if you think Syracuse is gonna have the best record. I might be leaning towards Syracuse right now. It's still early, but right now I'm leaning to Syracuse. Like, comment, and subscribe.